Hi, everyone, and welcome to our fourth wellness workshop. Yay! So my name is Corchelle Worsham. I'm a certified health coach, and tonight we have a fun evening discussing gut health. We'll look into ways to get good gut feelings, and at the end of the night, we'll do a fun activity on how to look for, how to read your nutrition label. So before we get started, I do have a quick poll for you guys. So let me pull it up really quickly. And the poll is, 1 second. So the poll is, jot down some ways that you already know to lessen heartburn. So if you want to just like jot some down, and then we can kind of go over it really quickly. So take your time on this. It's just some ways that you currently know how to lessen heartburn. And then we'll go into it a little bit more later on down the line of the workshop. I'm just gonna give like a couple more seconds. Okay, great. So everyone participated. Let me end this. And then let me share the results. So some people listed drinking water to help with less oxidative food. And then someone said, don't eat spicy food. So whoever said that, keep that in mind throughout the later on tonight, because we're gonna kind of go into spicy food later on. And then Tums. Okay, great. So let me end this. How do I actually? Okay, oops, 1 second. Okay, great. So you guys had very thoughtful ways to lessen heartburn. And in a moment, we'll share several ways to keep your gut healthy. I do have one more quick poll for you guys before we get started. So let me pull it up. This tonight's gonna be really interactive. So let me pull the, oops. Oh, sorry guys. Stop sharing. So do you guys see that in front of you, the poll?
Yeah.
Okay. So the poll is, does your stomach shrink with age? Yes or no? I'll give you guys a few seconds to answer that poll.
I wish.
Mine grew bigger.
Yours what, Auntie Annalie?
Mine grew bigger.
Okay, so everybody has answered and everybody said no. Surprisingly, the answer is yes. So your stomach does shrink as we get older. And we're gonna go into the importance of why gut health is important with when your stomach shrinks, your metabolism slows down. So that's something that we're gonna be really talking about a lot tonight. So let me end this really quickly. As we age, our stomach muscles become less stretchable. So naturally, we need to slow down how much we eat. And lastly, the intestines lose strength. So we need to practice grazing and having smaller mini meals to allow food throughout the body. So and then the 3 buzzwords we hope you remembered by tonight are, sorry, 1 second, a lot of people are attending. The 3 buzzwords we hope you remember tonight are slow, graze, and smaller. So those are the, so can you guys put yourself on mute, please?
Crutch.
And then, so those are the 3 words those are like 3 buzzwords that we want you guys to remember tonight. These are what Dr. Sears likes to call key words to creating good gut feelings. So it's slow, graze, and smaller. And it's also the top anti-reflux prescription we recommend to our clients, which is eat 2 times as often, eat half as much, and chew twice as long. So I just want to take a quick moment because I know some people are arriving right now. Is there any questions that you guys have so far that kind of we've discussed that you want me to answer? Any questions? Okay, so
No.
so there's no questions, but I do, so these are why it's like important to like have good gut health. And then I want to go into a quick poll, another poll again. So 1 second. Our third poll is, let me launch it. What is your gut's natural antibiotic? Is it A, protein, B, stomach acid, or C, probiotics? I'll just give it a few seconds for everyone to answer. Take your time on this. Okay, so the results are actually mixed. It's between stomach acid and probiotics, and the answer actually is B, stomach acid. So that's our gut's like a natural antibiotic. Stomach acid is important because it helps to maintain the right balance of bacteria in our bowels. And then I kind of want to pause here and ask, why is stomach acid important? Just to the group, if anybody has any answers, just go ahead and jump in the conversation, and then you just know that you guys are on mute right now. So unmute yourself if you want to jump in.
Interesting question. Does it help break down food, or I'm curious?
Yeah, so stomach acid is really, it's like a natural antibiotic. So it does like help break down like food. It's really important that when you're like to not take so many anti-inflammatory medicine like ibuprofen or antacid, I guess it's called. Too much of that stuff can really lower your natural antibiotic. And it also allows like some bad bacteria to take over good bacteria, which can cause like chronic illnesses like diarrhea and so forth and so forth. So that's why it's really important to like maintain your natural antibiotic, which is stomach acid. So, and then is there any other questions, or does anybody know like why stomach acid is important other than those reasons I listed? Okay, well, so everyone's quiet right now. I do have another poll. Tonight's gonna be really interactive, you guys. I came up with like 6 polls tonight. So let me end this, share the results, and then stop sharing. Okay, so this one's kind of a fun poll, and it kind of like tees into everything that we're gonna discuss later on tonight. So let me launch it. And the poll is, where is your esophagus located? Is it A, your brain? Is it B, endocrine system? Or C, your heart?
What is endocrine?
So well, let me give you guys a quick second to answer first.
Got him.
Take your time. This one's a fun one. It kind of leads into like tonight. Okay, so I'm going to end it right here. So the majority of you guys said the endocrine system, and it's actually not the endocrine system. So the endocrine system kind of like is our sensories. It matches, like it has everything that to do with sensories. But the real answer is heart. So your your esophagus is located in your heart, and which is why it's called heartburn. So we're going to talk about some ways to heal heartburn tonight. So let me go to the next slide. So here are some ways to lessen heartburn. One of it is to sleep on your left side, which I thought that was really interesting. Sleeping on your left side can actually allow gravity to better empty your stomach. And then secondly, enjoying airy foods like popcorn. Airy foods tells your brain that it's full, but really it's only partially full because it's due to air. So half of that's due to air. And then second of all, how many of you guys enjoy spicy foods? I know someone mentioned that spicy foods can like actually cause heartburn, but I kind of wanted to go into it a little bit here. So just a quick poll, raise your hand. How many of you guys enjoy spicy foods currently? Okay,
Yeah.
I do. Me.
there you go.
Nice. Yeah.
Heard it. So spicy foods, we really do recommend spicing up your meals to include jalapenos, cayenne pepper, red chili peppers. They're really good for you. And then another way of to lessen your heartburn is actually powering up with protein. On the screen right here, it's tofu. And some other protein-packed food is seafood, Greek yogurt, and then chunky vegetable soup, which actually leads me to my next poll. So let me pull that up right now. Okay, let me launch that. So is it true that protein leaves you more full than carbs and fat? So true or false? Which one leaves you more fulfilled? Is it protein? Is it carbs and fat? Okay. If you guys, two more people need to answer. Okay, so, okay. All right, so majority of you guys did say true, which is correct. Protein does leave you more satisfied. Protein hits your satiety hormones. So that's why it gives you more fulfilled feeling versus carbs and fat. And then with that, those are kind of all the things that I had prepared for you regarding gut health and ways to lessen heartburn. Is there any questions that you might have to ask? Like I know we kind of went over it a little fast, but is there questions that you guys maybe want me to go back on a little bit, like touch on a little bit more? Just kind of want to open the floor.
I've started eating for lunch. I've started eating salads.
Ooh.
I know, and I feel the difference because I'm not as bloated.
Right.
But the only thing is I think I need more protein to keep myself full during the day because it is just a salad. I did make some salmon, but Kylie ate half of my salmon, so it wasn't enough for me. But yeah, I'm starting to do that.
I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. That's
I'm
amazing.
just starving though.
Good job, cousin.
I know I need to eat more. I need to snack more though. I need to snack more with like healthy snacks and stuff during the day.
And how are you feeling now that you started the salad? Like you said that you mentioned that you're feeling less bloated. What other feelings are you feeling now that you're kind of incorporating that in your diet?
I don't feel as sick, you know. I have a little bit more energy than I usually have. So I think it's working. It's just the only thing is I think I need to read more about like combining it with snacks that can keep me full during the day, because I mean I just started, so now that I'm just eating salad for lunch, I feel like I'm hungry all the time.
So that's what exactly. And I'm so happy that you've taken this initiative to create salads as part of your lunch and your meals. And all we need to add is like powering up with protein, like some soy. You mentioned salmon, that's perfect. That's like part of seafood. there's tofu, there's just so many different options, and including and beefing up your salad. So you're on the right track, and I'm very like happy that you're doing that. So good job. Woohoo!
Thank
I
you.
have a question.
Yes, yes.
So, okay, so how do I know I'm getting enough probiotic food?
That's a good
Does that make
question.
sense?
Yeah, so I didn't mention it here because I thought like people would know like or would assume like gut is like probiotics. Like we want you to take in some probiotics. So one thing that is like a probiotic is Greek yogurt. That one's really good for your body, and we really recommend that one versus like traditional yogurt because it has more protein in it. And then to answer your question on how to know like whether or not you're getting enough probiotic, let me do some research on that because I'm not too quite sure myself. So I can do some research on that and then come back to you on our next workshop. But probiotic is very good for your gut. It helps to like like regulate it and like create like regular bowel movements throughout the day. And that's kind of like what we want to aim for is regular bowel movements. It shouldn't be, not to get like nitty gritty, but it shouldn't be like hard. Like when you like go to the restroom, it should be like kind of like loosely flowing. And it should be regular movements throughout the day. So not just like one at night or in the morning. We want like frequent bowel movements throughout the day. But that's why like spicing up your meals is important. That's why eating like airy foods is important. And that's why that's yeah. But that's a really good question. I definitely want to have a better answer for you at the next workshop.
It's normal to
Absolutely.
poop 3 times a day?
Is that abnormal?
No.
No, that's normal. That is normal. It shouldn't
That's
be
you eating too much.
hard. It shouldn't be hard. Yeah, so your stool should not be super hard to come out. That's what I'm trying to get. Okay, so any other questions on gut health? That's kind of like the super high level version of it. We can kind of go into more sessions, but that was kind of like the overall idea of it. And then I kind of went over like ways to lessen the heartburn. But any other questions before we move on to nutrition reading? No?
Nada.
Okay, all right. So let's see what I have here next. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a quote from Eckhart Tolle. Wherever you are, be there totally. And this can translate to when shopping at the grocery store. So kind of be like fully present, like always remember to practice mindfulness. So sorry, wait 1 second. And then so before we jump into the activity I have planned for you guys, I do have another poll. And so let me pull that up really quickly. This is going to be our last poll for the night. So take your time on it. Excuse me. It says, can you list some bad words you might see on a nutrition label? So list anything that comes to your mind that you might think that may be bad for you or you maybe shouldn't eat, like just list it. Let's go through it and then let's talk about it. So take your time on this one. It's kind of time consuming on this, so take your time.
Parts of Texas and Oklahoma earlier in the show. We'll recap that during the 7 o'clock news, but talk clear conditions, pressure to our west, bringing in those light north to northeasterly winds. Now, as the high breaks down tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, it's not going to move a whole.
So take your time on this. The question is asking, can you list some bad words that you might see on a nutrition label? Okay, halfway participation. Take your time. There's no correct answer on this. Okay, so I'm going to enter right here. We're at on the majority participation. So let's view their details. Okay, so fat and sugar is one. Sugars, and then palm oil. That's great. That actually touches on some of the things that we're going to talk about later on. So that's perfect. You guys are spot on. You guys know. So some of the stuff that you guys already had Chloe, sorry. My puppy. Okay, so some of the guys listed, some of the stuff I already said. It's high fructose corn syrup is one of them. Number symbols is something to be at the lookout for. And then hydrogenated oils, but that's also palm oils as well. That's like kind of in the list. One second. So what the reason why I kind of wanted to kind of gauge where you guys are at with the bad words, quote unquote, is these are additives and they have the potential to weaken our metabolism. And as we get older, our metabolism slows down. So that means the less fuel is being burned, meaning the less junk food we can have. So we really want to strive for practicing mindfulness. Strive for foods that include, oops, sorry, one second. Strive for foods that include these type of things, which is 10 or less ingredients, foods that mention whole grain and organic, words that you can pronounce. So before I jump into this, because I do have a challenge in my next slide, is there any questions on these, on what's on the screen? Okay, so there's no question. Let's jump into a challenge. So if you're up for the challenge, by our next workshop, which is 2 weeks from now, it's going to be May 18th. Please bring to class a food item that matches the mindfulness of the nutrition labels that we just kind of discussed. We'll share it with everybody, and then double points because our last workshop on April 20th was kind of reading the nutrition facts. So if you can kind of like match those two together, that's going to be amazing. So I kind of challenge you on that. Bring your healthy snack to class, and then we'll open class with that, and we'll kind of go like a round table of like why we brought this, and then why it's like healthy. So that's kind of something that I want to challenge you guys on, and hopefully you guys are up for the challenge. And then with all that, that's all I had prepared for tonight. I kind of wanted to end this by getting feedback and seeing if any of these ideas that we discussed appeal to you all. So I kind of want to open the floor to you guys on that.
Corchelle, can you bring back the previous slide? I wanted to screenshot that.
Oh yeah. Oops, sorry, that's my other.
We're celebrating Mother's Day with special savings. We have dozens of gifts to choose from, including gifts to help the mothers in your.
So these are the foods these are what we kind of want you guys to aim for. Nutrition labels having 10 or less ingredients, food words that have whole grain, organic, and then foods that you can kind of pronounce. And then I don't know if you guys already know this, but when you read the nutrition ingredients, the first one on the list is kind of what the food contains the most out of. We really want to shoot for high protein and high fiber. Like we discussed at our last workshop on April 20th, we went over how to read in nutrition facts, and that carbs are really good when they have partners like protein and fiber. And then really shoot for a low sugar. So these are kind of what, so then going back to our next slide, which is our challenge, I really challenge you guys to bring into class or into our next workshop an example of like what you see best kind of like matches what's on the screen. And then we'll go over it together. We can share it. We can get other tips from other people. So that's kind of like what I have for you guys. If there's questions, I want to open the floor to you guys now.
So what other foods fall into the fiber category other than beans or broccoli?
Oops, sorry, I think we're on.
I'm
So,
Colorado.
hold on, I think we're on. Is there feedback still? Okay, good. So there's foods that like with fiber, like I can't think of it on the top of my head, but I would think of like protein that that contain. Wait, what happened, Grandma?
Prunes.
Prunes. Yeah, fiber is like really foods that are naturally grown. So they're like vegetables and fruits. So those are like very high fiber content foods. Chloe, 1 second, please. But yeah, so fiber would include like vegetables and then fruits.
Would you also mention the calorie intake on labeled foods?
Yeah. So we kind of went over it a little bit on our last workshop, but just to kind of give you guys a high level for people who weren't there at their last workshop, we really want to strive for foods that have less than 140 milligrams of sodium. Sodium, which is meaning salt. So kind of like aim for 140 milligrams less of having that in the food. And then what other things are on the nutrition label?
What about sugar? How many grams of sugar is good or bad?
Actually, if you don't mind, I can actually pull it up. So let me pull it up really quick.
Is it also depending what kind of sugar you're intaking?
So
Because
there is natural sugars and then there's other sugars. That's great. That's good. Like to make that distinction, because fruit actually has like natural sugars and then there's other added stuff. But
so for sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but for the sugar lovers, is there like an alternative to sugar that we can take?
I'm actually really glad that you brought that up, Jess, is that we really want to educate you guys and strive for you guys not to have alternative sugar like Splenda and then Equal. Those are actually worse than sugar itself. It actually
Stevia too?
and
Stevia
stevia. Or actually, no, stevia is a plant like sugar, but it's not as bad as Splenda and Equal. Like,
what about raw sugar?
I don't know exactly too much about raw sugar, but I did want to know, and that could be another. Sorry, guys, I don't know. Oh, let me like mute this person. Okay, so I did want to know, then that could be a next future workshop. There's a lot of bad things in Splenda and Equal. Going back to what I mentioned about bad words and those are meaning they're additives in the food. Splenda and Equal have a lot of like bad things in it, and they can actually make you crave sugar more by having that. So it's not a good alternative. So I'm really glad that Jess brought that into discussion, because that could be a future workshop topic that we can kind of like dive deeper into. But we can, and then I know that we're like, it's only a 20-minute interactive workshop, and I know you guys probably have other things you guys want to do, but if you do have time, I can pull up a nutrition facts and then we can kind of go over and go into it. So if people need to jump off, feel free to jump off, but let me pull it up for people who want to stay for a second. So 1 second. Let me pull it up 1 second. It's right here. So
about yourself, but your things puzzle. Use that. Then on top of it.
Yeah. I'm almost done. I got 4 minutes left.
Year in a row, our Las Vegas community has voted.
sorry guys, 1 second. Okay.
More.
So this one's pretty fun because they kind of like they really break it down like beautifully, like
This guy just figures it out, whatever.
facts about nutrition. Okay, so let me share the screen really quickly. Okay, so I'm gonna okay. So this is kind of like the overall view of this, but what we want you guys to have is less than 6 grams of sugar. Like when you're looking at nutrition facts, check for low. Can you guys see the screen? Like nothing's being covered, right? Okay, good. So less than 6 grams of sugar is what we recommend. We also recommend to check your sodium and make sure it's less than 140 milligrams. We really like going back to carbs. Carbs need to have partners. So partners being protein and fiber. So check for 3 or more grams of protein and fiber. And then what else? And then if there's any questions, we can kind of open it to the floor. But this is kind of the challenge that I want you guys to have, is look for something similar to this that kind of meets this kind of criteria. And then as far as the nutrition label, look for avoid the stuff in red, and then go for stuff in green, something that you can see and pronounce, organic banana, you know what I mean? So let me open the floor to questions. I'll start rambling. Any questions on any of these?
Corchelle,
Mm-hmm.
I think you should take a poll on how many people that are on the phone go poop more than once a day.
I can actually make that poll.
I feel like, I mean,
Or if you want, you can put in the chat bar. How about we do that? How many times do you guys do bowel movements regularly throughout the day?
like 3 times, really? Like after a meal?
I can say like 5, but there's like small itty bitty, like they're itty bitties.
Like, eats after every meal, so like he's real good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good. All right. Well, let me go.
So only going once a day is not normal.
I wouldn't say it's not normal. Maybe just add more some of the stuff that we talked about, like protein and like fiber is good for you as well. Like just having like foods that are like naturally like grown, they're not like processed foods, because a lot of, I didn't mention this, but like processed foods, they're made to last longer, but they're really bad for your body. And that's why we're kind of like, that's why they're categorized in our red light category, as to like you can have it and enjoy it like on occasion, but that's not something that should be part of like your regular diet. Bread is, yeah. Max, I'm gonna recommend you watch our last workshop on the 20th, because that one it was like kind of like full on detail. But bread, we did like a traffic light eating, and bread's kind of like depending on what type of bread you're eating, it's yellow light food, so you can have it every day, but just in moderation.
Okay, I hear Ezekiel bread is probably like the best, right?
That one's good. That one's really good. And then there's like sourdough bread, there's whole wheat bread, there's a lot of, you can kind of like go crazy on the breads, just not white bread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything but white.
Exactly. So I'm gonna just end this right here. If there's anything else that you guys kind of want me to go over, I do have some exciting news. I did make a QR code. So if you do scan this with your phone right now, you can kind of access our Yelp, which you want to leave a nice note. That'd be great if you love these workshops. And then we also have a Google business that you can like leave your a nice review on. And then this right now, after we end this call, I'm gonna post this to our website, and it's also gonna be on YouTube. It's gonna be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify podcasts for you guys to reference back on. I'll have the slideshows on the website too for you guys to download. So if you guys want to, if you didn't have time to screenshot some stuff, this will be on the website. But with that, I kind of wanted to end tonight and ask for future workshop topics, because it's really helpful to kind of get a good topic going into the next couple weeks. So if anybody has any suggestions on what you want to talk about next, please say it. Say it now. Anything?
Are you gonna talk about body mass index, how much fat, muscle person should have, or the average person should have?
We can talk about that. We can talk about that and then kind of like wing in like exercise. I know we kind of briefly mentioned some like isometric exercises, but we can talk about that again if that's like what of interest.
Gotcha.
Corchelle, I think like somebody else was on that mentioned they have a sweet tooth, so maybe an episode with like alternative dessert ideas to like satisfy the sweet cravings.
I like that.
That's a good one.
You
Or
would ask
healthy
about stuff
choices.
like that.
I love
Yeah,
that
give us some
idea.
ideas. Yeah.
That's a
That'd be
great
fun.
idea. I'm gonna take, yeah, I got you guys on that. I do have you guys. And then we can kind of go, so that we can kind of pair that with like alternatives and then kind of go over if you guys want to know about it, but the consequences of using a Splenda and Equal. I don't know if that's like of interest to you guys. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
that-
Yeah. So you can like
Also,
learn about why it's
maybe
bad.
maybe you can talk about or like maybe present like portion control, what it's supposed to be looking like on a
Ooh.
plate.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, you know, like with my family, they don't know what portion control is, so they tend to overeat a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely like to
Okay,
know more about that.
I love that combination. I love the combination of portion control and then offering you guys alternatives, dessert options. So great. All right. Well, if anybody, okay, so thank you guys so much. I value you guys so much for attending. This is very helpful for me, just to get experience as a health coach, and everything. So, oh, also, I just want to mention, if you guys don't know, we are having a launch event August 27th. So we're going to have some wellness vendors out. I'm still in the process of securing other people. But if you know anybody that wants to participate in it, it's a free event and we're going to provide light refreshments and appetizers. It's just kind of like to get the word out. It's all encompassing a wellness event. So, all right. Well, that being said, thank you guys so much. This will all be up on the website and I'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Yay.
Bye.
Excellent job.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.